Good morning, students. Today we will study about Shah Jahan. After the death of Jahangir, there was a war of succession among his sons. In AD 1628, Prince Khurram ascended the throne. He took the title Shah Jahan. It means the ruler of the world. So now let us see his conquests. In AD 1628, Jujhar Singh, a Bundela chief, rose in revolt in Bundelkhand. He was defeated and later killed. Afghan noble Khan-e-Jahan Lodi, the Subedar of Deccan, also rebelled. He was also defeated and killed. Shah Jahan wanted to bring the three states of Ahmednagar, Bijapur and Golconda under his control. The Bundelas were defeated and Orcha seized. Therefore, he therefore appointed Aurangzeb as the Subedar of Deccan. Aurangzeb was his third son. Ahmednagar was conquered in 1632. Bijapur and Golconda agreed to pay an annual tribute, means they accepted their suzerainty. Now let us see his northwest policy. Shah Jahan wanted to reconquer the territories in Central Asia. He wanted to capture Balkh and Badakhshan. It would enable him to invade Samarkand, which was the home of his great ancestors, Timur. But the Mughal army had to give up due to the mountainous region and hostile climatic conditions. Shah Jahan also wanted to capture Kandahar. He sent a powerful expedition under Aurangzeb. The expedition failed due to the superior artillery of the Persians. Thus, campaigns against Balkh and Kandahar failed. Northwest was very important for them because it was the connecting trade route from Central Asia to India. But they lost this area in the hands of Persians. Relation with European traders. The European traders were merely looked upon as traders by the Mughal rulers. They established numerous trading outposts in different parts of the empire. When Shah Jahan came to know that the Portuguese were extracting duty from Indian traders, he attacked and defeated the Portuguese and seized Hooghly. Hooghly was their trading center. He made them trade on his own terms. In 1657-1658, there was a conflict amongst Shah Jahan's son over succession. Aurangzeb was victorious and his three brothers, including Dara Shikoh, were killed, and Shah Jahan was imprisoned in Agra fort. So Aurangzeb, one of his son, not only killed his three brothers but also imprisoned his father and became the next ruler. Now Aurangzeb, you can see here a picture of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb ruled from 1658 to AD 1707. He was the last great Mughal ruler. He ruled for 50 years till AD 1707. The reign of Aurangzeb witnessed many revolts. In North India, the revolt was limited to specific reasons. Aurangzeb had increased the land tax to one half of the produce. Due to the high land tax, the Jat peasants of Agra Mathura region rebelled against him. The Satnamis and the Bundelas also revolted against Aurangzeb. So there were many revolts took place because of his economic policy. Relation with Rajputs, Sikhs and Marathas. The most powerful revolts were the Rajputs, Sikhs and Marathas. Rajputs during Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb failed to realize the importance of the Rajputs, whom the Mughals had befriended since the time of Akbar. Means from the time of Akbar, Rajputs and Mughals were the friends. Akbar appointed many Rajputs on high post. But after the death of Raja Jai Singh of Amber and Raja Jaswant Singh of Marwar, relations with the Rajputs began to deteriorate. Because of his orthodox religious policy, the Rajputs turned into bitter foes. Foes means enemies. Mughal intervention in the internal politics of Rathors of Marwar led to their rebellion. Then how Sikhs became their enemy. Let us see. The relation between the Mughals and the Sikhs were strained when Guru Arjan Dev was executed by Jahangir for helping Prince Khusro. When Guru Arjan Dev helped Prince Khusro, he revolted against his father Jahangir. Jahangir killed him, and from that time the enmity between Mughals and Sikhs started. When the 10th Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur, protested against some measures of the emperor, he was arrested and brought to Delhi. He was given a choice between death and conversion. Guru Tegh Bahadur refused to convert because Aurangzeb wanted him to convert into Islam, but he refused and Aurangzeb killed him. His martyrdom forced the Sikhs to avenge his death. So Guru Gobind Singh, his son, organized the Sikhs into a militant force called the Khalsa. There were violent conflicts between the Khalsa and the Mughals. After Aurangzeb's death, the Sikhs were able to establish their own empire. Then Maratha were the important power in South India. Aurangzeb was getting apprehensive about the growing power of Shivaji. Shivaji was the leader of Marathas. So he sent Shaista Khan to fight against him. Shivaji, disguised as a marriage party with 400 soldiers, stormed the camp and took everyone by surprise. Shaista Khan barely managed to escape and his army was defeated. Next, Aurangzeb sent Raja Jai Singh to capture Shivaji and bring him to Agra. The fort of Purandar was besieged. It was under Shivaji. Shivaji was captured. He was not treated with honor and was about to leave the court when he was arrested. He was put in prison, but he managed to escape in a basket of fruits. Aurangzeb failed to recapture Shivaji. Next, his campaign against Deccan Sultanates. That time, many Deccan rulers made them independent. So, after suppressing Prince Akbar's rebellion, Aurangzeb sent armies against the Deccan Sultanates. Bijapur was annexed in 1687 and Golconda in 1687. From 1698, Aurangzeb personally managed campaigns in Deccan against Marathas, who started guerrilla warfare. In the northeast, the Ahoms were defeated in 1663 but rebelled again in the 1680s. Now, death of Aurangzeb. When Aurangzeb died in AD 1607, the Mughal Empire was on the verge of disintegration. His campaign in the Deccan had emptied the royal treasury. Many times he attacked on Deccan, means on South India. That's why the Mughal treasury emptied. His long stay in the Deccan had given rise to many revolts in the north. Growth in trade and commerce had led to the emergence of a new group in Deccan. These groups showed their loyalty to the regional powers. Aurangzeb was a staunch Sunni Muslim ruler. He lived a very simple life. That is why he was popularly called the Zinda Pir or the living saint. He reimposed jizya, which the non-Muslims had to pay. Gradually, the policies of Aurangzeb pushed the empire towards the decline. So, because of all his policies, his economic policy, his religious policy, there were various revolts took place in India, and slowly the Mughal Empire came to an end. And the later, after Aurangzeb, the Mughal rulers were called the later Mughals. They were very weak and unable to handle the affairs of the vast empire. Moreover, they were like puppets in the hands of their nobles as well as their own army. So that's why they are not so important like all these great Mughals from Babur to Aurangzeb. So that's all for today. In the next class, we will study about the administration of the Mughals. Thank you. Have a good day.